Oh, how
Yeah,
nice. Well, that's good. Fantastic. About what?
about Ouvidor Street.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
That's really good.
thank
Yeah,
you.
that's great. Hi, Kaina. Good evening.
Hi, good evening.
Good to see you.
Hello.
It's nice to be back. Thank you.
Yeah, how nice. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Okay, guys, let me take you now to the topics for our class today. So let me share the screen here quickly. All right, guys. So here we are. This is our page on Google Classroom where we have the topics. Today we are supposed to do those 4 pages, 29 through 31. And here I posted some extra material on the topics, right? But I've been trying to get on Oxford Bookshelf and to no avail. I don't know why it isn't working. So I will try again, right? So you can see for yourself. I hope it works now. I've been trying to open the book. It logs in normally, but when I try to go to the book page, it just gives me an error message saying that um, there is a lost gateway or something. So let's try again. Today we have a very interesting topic to talk about, and I will try to open up. And after that, if that doesn't work, I will just go over what we did last class and check if you did your homework. Okay? Look, we have the books, everything there. It logs in, no problem. Let's see if the book opens. Let's try. I don't know why. Yeah, look, can you see that? I've been getting this message since early today. 5:04 gateway time out, right? So we are not able to get the book, unfortunately. Okay, Lorena, can you see that?
Okay, teacher, no
Yeah,
problem.
can't open the book. So since we already have the topics here, I will go back to the previous week and see if you did the homework. Okay, let's check it out first. Of course, if it's related to the book, we can't go there. We can't open the books, right? So, unfortunately. But let's see the topics from the previous week. The last time we met was March 19th. Okay.
Okay, but I didn't the homework. I'm sorry.
Oh, no problem. That's okay. But just for you to see, guys, March 19th, um, we finished Unit 3 and we started Unit 4 that talks about questions and negatives, right? And for homework, I asked you guys to do workbook, page 21, 22, online practice, reading 2, illusions, the eye checker here, um, unit 3, because we had already finished that unit. So that's why I asked you to do unit 3 and the workbook pages 22 and 23. So you actually have 4 pages from the workbook, plus the writing 2 from online practice, cultural attractions. Okay, I just put some extra material here about questions in English, right? And I think I reposted them for today. Okay, the same worksheets. So probably we can check this review here of Unit 3 because it's a different site. It's the online practice, right? The eye checker. And we can talk about the topics today, but without seeing the book, right? Which is okay too. We have still we're talking about question words, and the focus today would be the question word how come, right? And the Malaysia Airlines flight MH370, which has been a wonderful uh, research mission until today because they haven't found any answers. They don't really know what happened to this flight. So we have two interesting things there to see. Okay. So let's go over here first. Let's go to how come, because then I can consider those 4 pages given. And then we can come back to those pages again later on when we have the connection, right? So here, just for you to see, guys, I posted a link to a site called Daily Step English, right? It's nice, it's good, and they talk about how to use how come, because it's like a forum where people ask questions, right? And then here, she introduces herself. So let me just make it bigger. Yeah. And then she says, hello, I'm Jane at Daily Step English. In this free audio lesson, I'll teach you how to avoid mistakes using questions with how come and why. Because theoretically, they are very similar, but there is a slight difference, okay? Below that, you can listen to summaries of all this week's Daily Step subscriber audio lessons. Remember to speak along with the audio files to help your fluency and pronunciation. So this is nice. They give us a lot of tips on how to practice, okay? So if you're new to Daily Step English, please register for a free trial. So here we have the audio, okay, about the lesson, and then we are not going to listen to that, but we can see the explanation, how to use how come in informal questions. Have you ever heard of this question before? Starting with how come? Yes? So,
Yes, teacher.
good. So thank you to Palita Shayatilaka in Sri Lanka for requesting this topic. How come is such a common expression in English. It's an informal way of asking a question. So guys, of course, I'm not going to read all the site, but just for you to see, it's really simple. Okay, you can refer to the site later. Okay. So they will explain that how come we use when we say or when we ask why something happened, okay? And it is more used in informal questions. Let's take a look at some examples here, just for you to have an idea. Example number 1, how come you didn't go to the party last weekend? Oh, I didn't go because I was feeling ill, okay? How come he's going to give a speech at the wedding? So as you notice, guys, when I use how come, I don't invert the position of the verb, all right? I keep the verb in affirmative mode, right? As if it were not a question, but in reality it is. So how come, instead of saying, how come is he going to give? No, we say, how come he's going to give a speech at the wedding? All right. Example number 3, your clothes are soaking wet. How come? Okay. It's like, what happened? Right. And then number 4, how come your English is getting so much better? So did you notice that all the examples we have here, they show that when I ask a question with how come, I must keep the sentence in an affirmative order, not in a negative order, as if it were a question, okay? Actually, it is a question, but we don't use a question form, all right? We use affirmative form. So that's one nice tip, okay? So look, how come you didn't go? How come he's going to give a speech, right? So if, look at the difference, if we start the sentence with why instead of how come, then we need to invert the word order. So look at the questions with why. Can you read the examples, please, Lorena?
Yeah,
Questions
teacher.
with why. Yes.
Why didn't you go to the party last weekend?
Hmm, very
Can I
nice.
continue?
Yes, please.
Why is he going to give a speech at the wedding?
Hmm,
Why
exactly.
are your clothes uh, soaking wet?
Okay, pronunciation. Close.
Clothes.
This word is tricky. We don't pronounce the S and we don't pronounce the TH either. We just say close as if close the door. Okay. So why are your
Okay.
clothes soaking wet? So can you read again, please?
Why are your clothes soaking
Close.
wet?
Close.
Clothes.
Yeah.
Clothes.
Close. Close.
Clothes.
Yes. Why are your clothes
Clothes.
soaking wet? Okay. Good.
Why
Number
are
four.
your clothes soaking wet?
Perfect. Perfect. You got it. Now number four.
Why is your English getting so much better?
Good. Just a little bit of correction here. Try to say again English.
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 Good. Very nice. So, as you noticed, Lorena and Kaina, when I start a question with why, I need to use the appropriate interrogative form. I have to use the auxiliary if there is one. I have to use the verb, right? Before. It's like the same thing we do when we ask questions with other question pronouns. But when we use how come, it's totally different. Okay? So, how come, and then we can put everything in affirmative mode, not question mode. Okay? All right. That's interesting, isn't it? And the idea, like Kaina was saying, right? Sometimes we mistake how come for like what we use in Portuguese. Oh, sorry. Like we don't really understand something. We kind of show this confused look that we don't understand. But here, how come is really what happened. Okay, so it would be similar to that expression in Portuguese, but not exactly the same, right? How come is he going to give a speech at the wedding? What happened? Okay. So we have so many other examples there. You can search, you can check the site again, right? And they give some ideas. There are some videos too, and there is a lesson here for us to do. Okay. So I will leave it for you because this is something that is intended to be self-study. So you should try and do this at home while you practice using those question words. I also posted some others, okay, guys? So here, I posted a worksheet from ILS and it's about WH questions in general. So here, it's also nice for you to take a look. Let me show you because Unit 4 is a big review of question words, okay? So let me just maximize this so you can see that. Yeah, I think this is the best I can do. Oh, here. Yay, great. So there you go. You have all the most common question words. And then what you have to do here is see the question here and put the correct one. Here we have the answers. So of course, to find the right question word, we should first see the answers. Okay? That's the best thing to do. Check out the answers and then you can come up with the question word. Right? That's the tip. Another one I also posted goes along the same lines, right? You have some questions, and then you have the answers. So for example, this is pretty simple. If you see here number 7, you just ignore the question and check out the answer. So it says in August. So you know that here you should use when, right? So when are you going on holiday? In August. Number 8, on the kitchen table. What is the question word?
Where?
Where? Yes, great, Lorena. Where? Very nice. Number 9, at 10:30.
What?
What time? Very good. What? Because time is already here. So all you have to put is what? Here, because I lost my mobile.
Why?
Yes. Perfect. Okay, so this is not difficult. If you check the answer first, okay, so you can come up with the correct pronoun. So this is something that I would like you to do for homework. But today, especially today, I would like to share with you this concern that has been swarming the minds of a lot of people, especially those directly affected by this accident. I don't know if you've heard about it because that was some years ago, but it's still kind of mysterious. They've got some clues of what might have happened, but they don't have the final answer yet. Okay, so I would like to share this with you. This is really interesting. First, we are going to see what really happened to Malaysia Airlines Flight 370, the plane that vanished. Have you ever heard of plane crashes before that intrigued you or that, kept you wondering before this one? Okay, have you?
Thinking? I don't know, teacher.
No, you've never heard about airplane crashes before, like airplane crashes here in Brazil. You've never heard of those? Kinda, never.
It's vanish.
Vanish is disappeared. Yeah,
Ah, okay.
disappeared. Yeah, here it's in the past. Disappeared. It actually disappeared because nobody has an answer why they couldn't see the plane, because they have the radar communication and transmission system. And on the radar, they can finally see where the planes go before they crash. They can actually see, but with this plane, it's different. This plane simply disappeared from the radar, and only hours later, it crashed. So that's why it's such a big mystery. Okay, guys. It remained silent for many hours before it actually um, dove in the ocean. Apparently, this is what they say, that the airplane just dove in the ocean and, exploded. Okay, but before that happened, they were silent for many, many hours. Actually, not only silent because there was no radio communication, but they actually disappeared from the radar. They had no image from this airplane in the sky. So how can that be, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, crazy, because the pilot can't just turn off the transponder, because there is, if you are in the cockpit, you can turn off the transmission of your signs, but there is one thing you can't turn off, which is the signal emitted by the transponder. The transponder isn't inside the cockpit, it's outside the cockpit. So this is something that no pilot has access to. Nobody can access that equipment because it's on the tip of the cockpit outside the airplane. But that thing stopped transmitting too. There were no signs, nothing from the transponder. So what happened? That's why sometimes, Lorena, I ask myself, I believe in life out of this planet. I believe in ETs and, flying saucers and extraterrestrial life, really, because there is only one explanation, and that's the most obvious to me.
Yeah, me too, teacher.
Yeah, because how can they just make an airplane disappear from view for so many hours? Okay, so let's
Yeah.
take a look at what really happened.
Okay.
Hi, Laura. Good evening. Welcome.
Hi, teacher. Good evening.
Hello.
Hi, Lo.
Good to see you, Laura. How nice. I'm so happy to see you. Welcome. Kaina was here a
Thank you,
while
teacher.
ago. Yeah, Kaina was here a while ago, but I think he crashed. So I can't see him anymore. I hope he can come back. So, Laura, we are talking about this flight here, which has become one of the biggest air traffic accident because there's no answer for the disappearance of this flight. Nobody knows what happened until today. So this was the Malaysian Airlines flight 370, okay? And this is how everything started, okay? So they're kind of showing an illustration here of what happened that fatidical night, okay? That was back in 2014, by the way, okay? Just for you to understand, girls, Captain Zahari, which was the most important pilot on this flight, he was like a trainer. He was helping another pilot graduate, okay? So he was like a coordinator of new pilots, right? So on this flight, he was actually evaluating the younger pilot, okay? So, yeah, of course, the passengers didn't know about it, but he was there. He was in command because he was the commander. Okay. But next to him was a young pilot. He was only 27 years old and he was doing his last training flight. After this one, he would graduate. Okay. He would be
Okay, teacher.
promoted. He would be promoted. Right. So imagine. We have here two very important people. One pilot was responsible and was really experienced, and the other one was getting his license to fly this kind of plane because he already had license to fly other planes. But this commercial one, it was the last flight he would do. Okay.
good morning. Hotel Papa 10, please right. Malaysia 370. 370, run up to Alpha 10. Run up to Alpha 10, Malaysia 370. 370, 32 right of takeoff. 9. Thanks for the right, Captain Malaysia 37. Thank you, right.
Malaysian 370, climb flight level 350.
Climb level 350, Malaysian 370.
Malaysian 370, contact Ho Chi Minh 120.9. Good night.
Good night, Malaysian 370.
I don't know if you noticed here, when the Kuala Lumpur radar controller passes the transmission over to Igati, he doesn't repeat the number of the frequency as he should have done. All right, he should have repeated, because whenever one controller passes the information on to the pilot to go to another controller, because he was crossing the border of Malaysia, he was leaving Malaysia, he has to report to the tower that he got the instructions all right. So when he enters Ho Chi Minh Area Control Center, which is supposedly from another country, he should have repeated the instructions completely, and he didn't. He just said Malaysia Airlines flight 370, good night. He just said that. That was a big mistake, right? And the tower, the controller, at the time, he didn't observe that. Okay, so let me just go back a little bit here. I know that because I used to work at the airport for many years of my life. So I know a little bit about aviation, okay? So take a look at this. First, okay, the flight controller gives the instruction to the pilot to reach 35,000 meters, which is a level of navigation that they usually follow. Then he confirms the flight reaches flight level 350 at 101. That was okay, confirmed. Okay. Yeah, that was really nice, Laura. That was really nice. I loved working at the airport. I worked in São Paulo, right, at the international airport there, and it was like almost 10 years I worked there. That was really nice. So let's take a look. Here, he follows all the instructions, right? Until now, so far, so good.
Malaysian 370, contact Ho Chi Minh 120.9. Good night.
You see, 120.9. This is what he says here. When he transfers the control over to Ho Chi Minh area, the pilot, he listens to the instructions, but he doesn't repeat the other part. The final part, he omits the pilot, okay?
Malaysian 370, contact Ho Chi Minh 120.9. Good night.
Good night, Malaysian 370.
You see, he just says, "Good night, Malaysian 370." Nothing else. Okay, so something starts going strange, weird at this point, but they didn't know, right? The air traffic controllers, they didn't have any idea what was going on. Okay, nobody knew. This image is very important because that's the moment when everybody, the controllers, they see the airplane crossing a special part in the sky where they say it's the Gary point, which is the international, what they call international navigation point, right? When he transpons that, when he goes over that, the air traffic controller, could see clearly what was happening at this point. Like everything okay, nothing bad, everything was fine. Okay, but check it out. Did you see that? Suddenly, it disappeared. It was gone. Nobody could see this airplane there in the air traffic control.
Teacher,
Yes, go
but
Ryan.
the airplane getting out of the, I don't know, a rota.
Yes,
there.
apparently the airplane until this moment, the airplane was on its right track, was it on the right route, everything was okay. But the problem happened at this moment when the airplane disappeared. So it means that voluntarily somebody inside the cockpit turned off the radar, the transponder. The transponder is something that automatically emits a signal to the air traffic controllers. And apparently someone inside the cockpit turned it off. That's why the airplane was invisible now. It became invisible. But
Wow.
yes, but watch on. So here you can see that although and despite disappearing in civilian secondary radar, the flight was still being tracked by military radar because there is a kind of equipment on the tip of the cockpit, right up front on the airplane. This is something that the people in the cockpit, they don't have access to. So they can still find the airplane. The military radar can find airplanes because of that, all right? And also because of other techniques they have to find strange objects in the sky, like they do with UFOs, for example, right? Sometimes the military radar catches images of UFOs in the sky and they don't tell anyone. So they can get those things. So still after that disappearance, the military radar was still able to see the airplane. Okay, so let's go on. You see what happened here? So at the time that the transponder, which is this object inside the airplane, stopped functioning, we don't know if it was really voluntarily or not, but the moment it stopped functioning, military radar shows flight 370 turning right. So changing the route. But then beginning a left turn. So it went right and then left to a southwesterly direction. So this flight was supposed to go to China, to a place in China. Let me see if I remember, Beijing. So this flight left Kuala Lumpur in Malaysia and was on the way to Beijing, China. But somehow it changed the route. We don't know the reason, what happened, but let's see. Were you able to read that? Yes. Look what happened. Another aircraft actually noticed that that airplane was doing something wrong, something different, and they attempted to signal the crew of the flight shortly after 1:30 a.m. using the International Air Distress IAD frequency. Okay, guys. So to relay Vietnamese air traffic control's request for the crew to contact them as if they noticed that something was going wrong with that airplane. Okay, so they actually sent a message using the IAD frequency. So, but let's see what happened. Wow, look at that, people. At this point, the guy from the other aircraft, when he sends that message using IAD, he successfully establishes communication, but he can only hear mumbling and static. Mumbling, does anybody know the meaning of mumbling?
I don't know, teacher.
I think it's like go side to side. No.
Sorry?
Is it like going side to side?
No. Mumbling is when you speak, but you are totally unclear. Nobody can understand you because you're speaking as if you were with your mouth closed like this.
I misunderstood with like grumble.
Yeah, no, mumbling is that. It's when you try to say something, but something is like closing your mouth, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Hey, Laura, no, of course not. Of course not. So
not crumbling, wobbling.
Oh, okay, wobbly, yeah, wobbly, something that is loose and then it's wobbling. But here's mumbling. So mumbling is related to speech. It's related to the ability of speaking, but without opening your mouth. So that's really hard to understand. Okay. And then at this moment, the captain from that other aircraft managed to communicate with the guy from 370, the captain, but he could only hear mumbling and static. Static is when you are trying to connect to a radio station and you just hear that sound. Okay, so that's the static. So that's what he got from the communication, right? So nothing was clear. He didn't know what was going on, okay? But they were still flying, okay? The flight was in the air. Tudo de primeira. So I just paused here. So you have, look at this map. This is what the airplane did and what the radar could get from the route and the communications, what was possible until this point, okay, up to this point. So they left Kuala Lumpur and then they went, they made a like right turn and right after a left turn, then left again as if coming back to Kuala Lumpur, right? So it continues across the Malay Peninsula, fluctuating between 31,000 and 33,000 feet in altitude. So let's say it was getting some turbulence maybe. So it was going a little bit up and down. It happens when, I don't know, have you ever flown? Have you ever traveled by plane somewhere? So you know what it feels like when the airplane goes up and down like this. Okay, that was a sensation. Okay, guys, maybe passengers felt that they were like in a turbulence of some kind, right? That's why the altitude was changing, or maybe not so sudden. Maybe it was something really smooth and they couldn't even notice that at this point, okay? I will just pause here so you can read. This was already in the morning, 7:24 Malaysia time. So imagine, guys, imagine receiving the news that the flight you were waiting, suppose you were there in Beijing, waiting for a relative, somebody who's coming on this flight, and then you get the news, listen, the flight communication has been lost at 1:21 in the morning, and we are going to initiate, actually the government had initiated search and rescue operations already. So what? Right? So you would say,
so sad.
yes, very sad, Lorena, very sad, because it took a long time for them to alert officials or people in China, right, about what had happened. I don't know if Malaysia did that on purpose because they were trying to find the airplane, and since it took a long time, they decided to send the news. But wow, that was very sad indeed. But let's go on. Sorry, Laura asked if everybody died. Yes, unfortunately. There were 239 passengers on board, and out of those, 5 or 6 were children. So that was very bad. Yeah. Okay. Just go back a little here. Did you see that? Look at this. Records of signals sent between the aircraft's engines and a communication satellite over the Indian Ocean revealed that the aircraft had continued flying for almost 6 hours after its final sighting on Malaysian military radar. So even though they said that they had lost communication, actually they had, but they hadn't seen the airplane at 1:52 in the morning. After that, no more. But the military radar in Malaysia had seen the flight for more 6 hours in the sky. So that's really shocking. Sorry, guys. The aircraft satellite communication system sent a logon request as if asking for help or something, right? Message which was relayed by satellite to a ground station, both operated by satellite telecommunications company Inmarsat. So Inmarsat was kind of responsible for getting all the communication from the aircraft, even the communication from the engines, because the engines of the aircraft were like programmed to send signals to the factory or manufacturer, not to find the location of the airplane, but to say that everything was okay, right? So it is proof that the plane had flown for 6 hours more before it actually reached its final destination. That's even more shocking. Look, after logging onto the network, the satellite data unit on board of the aircraft responded to hourly status requests from Inmarsat and 2 ground-to-aircraft telephone calls at 2:39 and 7:13, which were unanswered by the cockpit. So look at this. The final status request and aircraft acknowledgement occurred at 8:10 in the morning, about 1 hour and 40 minutes after it was scheduled to arrive in Beijing. So did you see that? It was the last piece of data. So this logon acknowledgement is the last piece of data available from flight 370. That was around 8:19 in the morning. Did you see that? They drew a circle to say, okay, the plane crashed in this area because all the communication we've been receiving, the pings, not human communication, but a kind of automatic relay from the aircraft occurred in this area. And the last one was in the morning, right from there. So they got the map and they drew a circle of a possible place for the crash site. So here, right, they talk about it. Inmarsat was really very active in determining the distance of the plane because they wanted to know exactly where they were, of course. So based on the satellite signals. Okay, so then they got this circle here. Look. You see how technological is plane research. When something happens, you can find an airplane wherever it is. So based on those signals and the satellite emissions, they could kind of plot exactly where the plane had passed. So it left here, it left Malaysia, and according to the curve, it took a left turn and then it came all the way here. And then suddenly, after some time, it disappeared. So they were like calculating maybe the flight could have crossed some of these arcs, they call them, right? And then that's where all the rescue team concentrated their efforts to find this airplane, okay? Then it was all about technology, right? They had to apply the technique to the handshake signals. Handshake signals, people, are the responses you get when you transmit a kind of radio frequency to an object and it returns saying that I'm okay, but not necessarily human, okay? It's machine to machine. It's like two machines communicating. So the airplane had those things inside and they sent those handshake signals directly to the satellite and some other radars that got them, radio frequency and all. And then by applying the technique to the handshake signals from the flight, it gave results that correlated strongly with the expected and actual measurements of a southern trajectory over the Indian Ocean, but poorly with a northern trajectory. So they thought it was supposed to be, or it apparently took a south turn instead of a north turn. So to make it easier for them to look for debris, because they would have to send teams of rescuers, boats, ships, everything. So they kind of tried to hone it to a special place in the ocean so they could go and search. Okay. All right, people. So the moment they pinpointed, okay, it was right here or it was around here. So a big search mission started. And I mean, lots of countries joined in this search for the plane and the crash site. So lots of boats from different nationalities, people went there. So a big and, as they say, the most expensive in aviation's history, a search that was never like any other. Okay. So here you have more or less the number of countries involved, right? Within April 28th that year and March 18th, actually March 18th and April 28th, right? So 19 vessels, 19, and 345 sorties by military aircraft. So these are like airplanes and helicopters, all the same. Searched over 4,600. Oh, actually, no, 4,600,000 kilometers, square kilometers. So a huge area, right? Actually, not 4 million, 4,000, sorry. 4,600 square kilometers without finding any evidence. Any evidence. They found nothing. Okay. So let's go. Okay, guys, so that final search that we saw before was actually, yes, 4 million. I read the numbers wrong here. This is 4,600,000. So that was a huge area, but they were okay with that and they had people to do it. A lot of countries were involved. So that's why such a big area was covered, okay? But they found nothing. Then after that, they started the final phase. The final phase was the bathymetric survey, which is like when they survey underwater, but not so deep, right? And they used the sonar to search on the seafloor. Actually, yeah, it went up to, it went down 1,800 kilometers southwest of Perth, but to really evaluate the seafloor. The seafloor is when you really go down like in a submarine. So to search for anything underwater. Okay, guys, so this is what they call the thematic survey and the sonar search. So they started that phase, but that was like almost a year later, okay? And they were already on the southwest of Perth, Western Australia. So way out of the circle, kind of, right? Look. So this was January 17th, 2017, about 3 years later, right? Almost 3 years later. The official search for Flight 370 was suspended after yielding no evidence of the aircraft other than some marine debris on the coast of Africa, but nothing significant. Okay, so here they talk about the costs of the search. Look at this. So here, as of June 30th, 2017, it had cost a total of $155 million so far. So, terrible. And then here the report also concluded that the location where the aircraft went down had been narrowed to an area of 25,000 only, 25,000 square kilometers, by using satellite images and debris drift analysis, because they found some debris, right? But yeah, yes, kind of. So yeah, so then after that, after all the research had stopped, they narrowed everything to a very small area. Okay, so. So finally, in 2018, January 2018, a private U.S. marine exploration company called Ocean Infinity resumed the search. That means they started searching again, okay? They overtook the search from January 2018, and they really wanted to find out the answers, right? They were looking for the answers. They didn't want to stop. So in the narrowed 25,000 square kilometer area, using the Norwegian ship Seabed Constructor. So they got this ship and they said, okay, let's go. Okay, let's start again. So this is more or less what happened during the research, what they did. Okay. So they started in January, and by the end of May on that same year, the vessel had searched a total area of over 112,000 square kilometers, so much bigger than the first 25. Using 8 autonomous underwater vehicles. So they used a lot of stuff. Look at that, guys. This is really sad. The contract with the Malaysian government ended soon afterwards, and the search was concluded without success on June 9th, 2018. So that's the saddest part, because how can an airplane just disappear? Usually when there is a plane crash in the ocean, for example, you find debris. You find things from the plane because they float, okay? So the wing of an airplane is made to float, okay? Even though it has engines and everything, but it floats. So they found nothing. So here now it's a speculation, okay, guys? Speculation from the US officials. So they believe what happened. the most likely explanation to be that someone in the cockpit of Flight 370 reprogrammed the aircraft's autopilot to travel south across the Indian Ocean. Imagine who could have done that? The experienced pilot who was there as a tutor, he was there as a coordinator. The graduating pilot, the pilot who was being trained, but he already had some experience, or somebody from the cabin, aircraft crew, or even pilot, passengers. We don't know. Who did this? Who reprogrammed the aircraft's autopilot to travel south instead of to Beijing, the final destination? Look at this, people. So they started suspecting Captain Zahari. They thought maybe he was the prime suspect. Okay, he was guilty and he was the one who created all that. Yeah, oh my God. So that was before that final search had actually started. That was 2016. A leaked document stated that a route on the pilot's home flight simulator, because he lived in a very comfortable house, which had an extension to his house that served as a flight simulator. Okay, so he used that other house just to practice flying. And then, of course, police went there to investigate, and they found, look, a route that closely matched the projected flight over the Indian Ocean. What had really happened to the airplane? So was he trying to reproduce the same route from his flight simulator? Was he crazy? Was he trying to commit suicide together with all the other people? So they found this. I don't know if that's really true. That's speculation. Yeah, probably. This is what they say. U.S. military. They suspected him. They thought that he might have programmed, right? Like we learned previously, he might have programmed the airplane because they found a very similar route in his flight simulator at home, right? The police went there and they found this very similar route. So did he do this on purpose just to try out a new route? But I don't know, using a commercial airplane with a lot of people inside. Okay, so that's crazy, right? That looks like suicide to me. So now other investigators, they don't believe that was so. They thought that they have cast doubt on claims that the captain was conscious at the moment the plane crashed into the ocean, saying such a scenario was unlikely. So they believed that probably the captain wasn't conscious at the moment it all happened, or when it crashed. Probably before he was, but maybe somebody else was kind of forcing him to do it. Okay, we don't know. So, as if it was a hijack of some kind, airplane hijacking. We don't know. We don't have all the answers. Actually, we don't have any answer. Okay. So here we have the final decision from the people who were coordinating the international search. They say here, the man in charge of coordinating the international search did not rule out that pilot Sahari deliberately crashed the 777 in a carefully planned mission. So they didn't eliminate this possibility. They concluded the situation, they couldn't find anything, but they didn't eliminate the possibility of really having the pilot as the sole responsible for what happened to flight 370. Okay, so they didn't eliminate that possibility, so they didn't rule out. Okay. Gosh, this is really sad, terrible, terrible indeed. Let me try to go back to that one. That was very end. Look, indeed, sources claim that Sahari's objective was to keep the plane largely intact, so it would disappear as completely as possible in the remote Southern Ocean. They imagine, right, that this was what happened, that he had this target. I will keep the airplane flying as long as I can and super intact until it disappears because of lack of fuel or something else, so that it crashes somewhere in the Southern Ocean. This is what some people claim, some sources, okay? That's very, very sad, really. So when they released the final report, they didn't provide any new information. Okay. They haven't found what they say, in Portuguese we call it the black box, right? But it's not. It's the aircraft's cockpit voice recorder. This is what we call in Portuguese the black box of an airplane. In English, we don't call that. We say the cockpit voice recorder. They haven't found this voice recorder. Neither have they found the flight data recorder, which goes in the back of the airplane. So sometimes when the airplane is destroyed, the back of the airplane is usually the one that gets the less damage. And so there is a recorder there that usually people find when they do the research for the reasons of the crash. And that recorder gives some clues to what might have happened. And in this case, they haven't found any of those. Neither the cockpit voice recorder and nor the flight data recorder. And main wreckage prevent them from establishing conclusive evidence, of course, because they only know what happens when they find the recorders, right? So that's why they say they couldn't provide any other information, right? So. Yeah, very sad. Because we live in a digitally connected world, so how come they didn't find this airplane, right? How come? So yes, here is what happened in the aviation industry as a result of this accident, right? This airplane crash. They have changed a lot of things, right, in the aviation industry, in the manufacturing of airplanes to prevent this from happening again. Okay, so they have been doing some changes, actually implementing some changes, right? Airlines and air transport authorities responded swiftly, quickly to take action on several measures to reduce the likelihood of a similar incident. The likelihood is like the possibility of a similar incident happening again, okay? So they have, actually they say so. Yeah, unbelievable. Yeah, really. Yes, the IATA, they call it. IATA, which is an industry trade organization representing over 240 airlines, and the ICAO, the United Nations Civil Aviation Body, began working on implementing new measures to take aircraft in flight in real time to track. So it actually nowadays, all flights are tracked in real time. The moment the airplane takes off until it lands, it's being tracked so that this kind of accident can be avoided. Okay.
I think the money they uh, had been used from this investigation needs to be used for aperfeiçoar,
To improve. Yeah.
for improve,
To improve. To
to
improve.
improve
Mhm.
uh, the equipments,
Equipment. Yeah, to improve.
equipment,
Yes, sure. And also to improve and to increase, I would say, flight safety. Right? And they have done that. They have done that. They have invested a lot of money. After this accident happened, they have invested a lot of money on improving air safety. So much so that they implemented new measures to track aircraft in flight. To track is the same as to follow, to know exactly what's happening in the airplane and what the pilot is doing. Nowadays, it's even more surveilled. It's even more, I mean, it's more demanding, I would say, for the crew members that they really need to follow all the rules. And the airplane is being tracked whether they want it or not. Even if the airplane is hijacked, for example, they can track the airplane and know where it is. So it's not like in the past, I guess, right? When I say the past, it seems like a long time ago, but no, This accident happened in 2014, so not such a long time ago. But
Yeah,
after,
but before they didn't see nothing.
yes, before they did nothing, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've been flying around for so many years without this kind of measure, right? Without this kind of care. So imagine, right? Because this airplane, something really different happened to this specific flight, okay? And nothing that had ever happened before. That's why, yeah, that's true. Sure. So they say nowadays new measures have been taken and flying is a little safer. Okay. Yes. So as they say, really, it has become, right, guys? This flight, unfortunately, has become the biggest aviation mystery of all times. Yeah. I know that a lot of us are afraid of flying, and we may even have some, I don't know, some reservations towards flying or getting on a plane, or, but nowadays it's safer to fly, right? So don't give up flying. Now it's okay to do it, even though we may have some turbulence here and there, but it's safe because now they have implemented some technology and radio technology to be able to trace the flight wherever it goes. So even if your flight is hijacked or something, they will be able to find it, right? So um, hopefully this thing will never happen again. But I'm really sorry for all the families, everybody who was directly involved in this accident. Because imagine you lost a family member, but you don't know where they are. You could never have a funeral, nothing. They just vanished. So that's crazy. That's really crazy, right?
Teacher,
Yeah.
did you see the TV series
Which one?
called Dark?
No, no, I haven't. Is it good? Yeah.
Yeah. Assim, eu vou falar em português rapidinho. Tipo,
Okay.
é como se tivesse ido para outro tempo e não tem nada de pista que foi deixado, sabe?
Uh-huh.
E aí, tipo, parece Dark, porque Dark tem essa ocorrência de tempo, sabe? Futuro,
Wow.
presente,
Uh-huh.
passado.
As if they had just gone to a new dimension, to a different, or even like a time machine, like they traveled in time.
Yeah.
Is that, yeah, that could be possible. We don't know, right? Because they haven't found anything. So I believe that, well, that's my speculation. Okay, guys. I believe that it might have been abducted, maybe, by an extraterrestrial force, or they might have maybe gone to a new dimension, some other place that we don't have here. I don't know. Anything is possible. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they were abducted or something, right? Let's let's believe in something else, because we don't have concrete evidence to say that, yeah, they crashed and everybody died. there was nothing, okay? Even though I guess they found some debris near an island. Let me see if I remember the name. Reunion, the name of the island. That was in 2018. They found a piece of the aircraft near this island. It just was washed on shore, you know, taken from the ocean. Then it just appeared on one of the beaches, and they said, oh, this is from Malaysia Airlines 370. But I don't know if this was really proved. I don't know if they actually proved that, but it was a piece of an airplane. Okay, so that's all we have. It's difficult to understand that something doesn't have a solution. It doesn't have a final conclusion. That's something we can, oh, they had a problem and the airplane exploded in the air. There's nothing because there's no debris. Oh, 2001. Yeah, you say that, 2001. Oh, you're welcome. Let me try to reach the pages now. Let's see, maybe now it's working. Let's see. Man, COVID-19 is killing so many people. Gosh, let me turn it down. Oh man, look, still the same answer. We're not able to get in the book. So sad, but that's okay. No problem, guys. Just to show you here, back to our topics for today. We managed to include everything pretty much, right? We talked about how come, which is a way to ask why, but in a slightly different manner. When I use questions with how come, when I ask questions with how come, I need to invert the position of the sentence. I don't use a question form. I use an affirmative form, as you've seen. If you arrived later, you can check out the site that we saw in the beginning. And here you can have the explanation. I post here 2 different worksheets for you to work on question forms and WH questions, right? And the Malaysia Airlines flight MH370. This is another video that I posted here for you to watch if you're interested. And you can have more vocabulary about the story, which is basically what you have on your book. Okay, there is an article there about this flight, which has become the biggest mystery in the aviation industry, as they said, and that's why it is so important, right? So let's take a picture before we go, and we can try and play a game with the review of what we saw last class. Let me see here, guys. Let me take you back to our last class so you can see the homework I asked you to do. So you try to work on that. Okay, guys, if you have a chance, please. So let me go there. Yes, this was March 19th. So on March 19th, guys, we finished Unit 3, okay? We did the final part, and we started Unit 4. We did the first 2 pages, 26, 27. And this was the homework, this long line here, okay? Since we were having like 2 weeks ahead, because we had like 15 days, 1 week without class, I thought, oh, maybe they will have some time to do it. So I asked you guys to do pages 20, 21, 22, and 23 of the workbook. The eye checker, okay, guys, if you have the book, you can reach it. Eye checker Unit 3, and this online practice exercise here, writing 2 about cultural attractions and reading 2 about illusions. This is nice. It's interesting because it provides a lot of vocabulary, and you know, it's fantastic to learn new words when you are at this level. Okay, so guys, try to do the
Okay, teacher.
homework. Yeah, and for today, the homework would be not so much like that, but I just put the lesson here, but let me see the workbook that is equivalent to the lesson for today. I just forgot to put here the homework. Just a second. Let me update this thing here before we take a picture. Just a second. So probably it will be the workbook. Yes, but let me just open up the planner so we can, let me just go here, just a second.
Teacher, you are mute.
Oops, sorry. Thank you, Lorena. Thank you. I
You're
forgot.
welcome.
Thank you. So have you started reading the book, Washington Square? It's so nice. I read this book and it's really nice. Yeah, it is amazing. I liked it. The story is really good. It talks about a man who is extremely rich and he has a daughter. I think her name is Catherine, if I'm not mistaken. And she meets this guy who isn't as rich. He's just a nice guy. And she starts seeing him, but then her father hates him because he doesn't come from a rich family and stuff like that. So they really have a lot of problems because of this father. And their house is on Washington Square. This is the address where their house is. And this happened at the end of the 19th century, 18 something. But the story is very nice because it talks about something really present, something really updated, something that happens nowadays, right? When you don't have so much money and you fall in love with someone who does, and then you have a lot of problems because of this, right? So, but I will not tell you the end of the story. I want you to read it. It's really nice. I loved the story. So guys, let's take a look here. You should start reading the book, okay guys? I really recommend, and I will probably give you a quiz on the book later, okay? So here we have our program, or our planner as we call it. And here we have the unit 4. So the first 2 units, the first 2 pages of unit 4, we had page 22 and 23. Let me just make it a little bigger. Let me see if I can. Just a second. Let me try to zoom. Okay. Yes, can you see it better now? Yep. So then today we were supposed to do the following pages, 28, 29, and this is the homework page for you. Actually, the homework pages, 24 and 29. Okay, guys. 24, 25, sorry, and 26. Okay, you can try to do those 3. And the listening from online practice, big business. So let me copy that, 24, 5, and 6. I'm going to take you back to the Google Classroom page so we can put it there, okay? So 24, 25, and 26. I'm just pasting there, okay, guys? I'm pasting I'm just, what? The sound? Oh, my mother's working in the kitchen. Maybe that's why. Yeah, it's a little noisy here. Is that what you're listening to? Yeah. Yeah, she's cooking. So here, the online practice is going to be the listening part, listening 3. Okay, big business. Okay. Okay, guys. This is only that for today. I will save this so you can check that later if you wish. You can also check this video and try to do the worksheets. Okay, guys, this will help you a lot. And I'm really sorry I wasn't able to open the book, so I couldn't even follow the book with you today because it's not opening. I've tried many times, so it didn't work. Okay, so please don't forget to update your homework and start reading the book Washington Square. Then you tell me about it, right? So let's take our picture. I'm really happy to see everybody here. How nice. Oh, so good to see you. Hey, Lorena. How nice. Good to see you. Hey, Laura. Kaina. Oh, guys, I'm going to cry. I miss you so much. Oh, my God. I'm sorry. I miss you a lot, people. It's so...
Oh, it's
Oh,
okay. We miss you too.
Guys,
That's cute.
I'm so surprised. I didn't know you were opening your camera. That got me by surprise. Wow, man. Oh gosh. I miss you so much, people. I really do. I miss you a lot. Thank you so much for doing this. Thank you. I love you
You're
guys.
welcome.
Wow. Oh my God. So let's take the picture then. 1, 2, 3. Look at my face. Oh man. People, thank you so much for coming, and I hope you enjoyed. It was a sad story, but I hope it helped you with vocabulary on the topic. And I hope you get more interested in our classes and you come more often. Try to be more present, okay?
Okay.
Oh, guys, I love you so much. Thank you. Oh, man. Thank you so much. May God bless you. May God bless you, okay? Please protect yourselves and take care. Okay, guys. Oh, Kaina, I miss you so much.
Okay,
Sabrina.
teacher.
Bye-bye, people. Have a nice weekend. This was a wonderful
Bye-bye,
surprise.
guys.
Oh,
Bye.
man. Big surprise, indeed. Okay, bye. I love you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.
I love you too, teacher.
Yeah. Me too, guys. Thank you. Wow.
My sister behind me.
She's so cute. Oh, she's so cute. How nice. Oh. You're amazing, guys.
Thank you.
Oh, gosh. Oh, my God. Thank you so much, people. Take care, all right? Oh, my God. Bye-bye.
Have a nice weekend.
Bye-bye.
You too.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Oh, my